All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. This is our fourth and final installment of our AEP Educational Series for 2022. Real quick, as a reminder, please put yourself on mute. If you'd like to ask any questions, you can do so in the chat, or after the presentations are completed, you can unmute yourself and ask the questions at that time. I would like to introduce from Sourcewell, our government education partner. We have Michael Munoz, CPPB Procurement Analyst, here to start us off for our final part of the educational series live. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Hi, I'm Michael Munoz. Welcome to the final session of the AEP webinar series. Now that you've attended these informational sessions, hopefully you'll be ready to conquer your own application process and continuous improvement efforts. Now, some of you may know this about me, but I'm one of those crazy distance runner people. I have been for a very long time, and I've actually run a couple of marathons. I do like the half marathon distance a little bit better, but completing a marathon is hard work. It takes a lot of perseverance and planning. Now, you all may know exactly where I'm going with this. The AEP submission is definitely more of a marathon and less of a sprint. No disrespect to any sprinters in the audience, but this submission is going to take a lot out of you. You're going to have to stay strong for extended periods of time and deal with some self-doubt. You're going to push yourself through this process. And in doing so, you'll find areas of strength in your organization that you may have not known existed. Coworkers may rise up and surprise you with innovative answers and out-of-the-box thinking. You may find areas for improvement within your organization due to some weaknesses you saw. Begin to implement new processes and do even better on future submissions. Having someone run beside you or just in front of you really helps in a marathon, as they can offer both encouragement and motivation. This is why NPI puts on these sessions, to provide guidance and mentorship to those that may need it. Peers that you can reach out to that have already successfully gone through the process themselves. And trust me, if we can do it, you can too. Sourcewell is currently taking on its 7th AEP challenge, and we feel better prepared this year than ever before due to these sessions and from learning from our past experiences. Each and every one of you have your own reasons for wanting to apply for this prestigious award. Let that why be your fuel, your motivator to see you to and through the finish line. We applaud NPI for putting together one of the industry's top and most recognized awards, and the work NPI does to continuously improve the award and the process. 184 agencies ran through the finish line last year. Are you prepared to run through the finish line this year? My favorite runner has always been Steve Prefontaine. Steve has a great quote, and it goes far beyond running. He always said, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. NPI and Sourcewell encourage you all to give your best in this submission. In doing so, you'll surprise yourself with how much you have to give and how much you and your organization have accomplished. Good luck. May the 4th be with you. Back to you, Brian. Thank you.
Excellent, Michael. Thank you very much. And may the 4th be with you as well. I do want to, again, thank Sourcewell, our government education partner, for allowing us to offer this educational series to everyone free of charge. It has been a great resource, and we do look forward to many more years to come. So thank you again to Sourcewell. And with that, I have fielded and answered many questions over the course of my 12 or 13 years of doing this. And so I'm going to take you through just a couple of the ones that I routinely get today that are related to the end of the process, the end of the road. And if you have any questions about anything, again, feel free to put those in the chat. And as soon as I am done going through the couple things that I want to point out, we'll open it up to everybody for questions. And hopefully we can get you through to the finish line using Michael's analogy. So with that, I'm going to share my screen real quick here and take you into the NPI website. And so now you should be able to see the AEP section of the NPI website. I'm going to point out something I have, I think, on every other educational series as well. Keep in mind, please, that there is a difference between the member login, which is for those people that are NPI members, and the AEP application login, which is for everybody that submits an AEP application, whether or not you are an NPI member. Those are two different databases. So we get a lot of questions about people having troubles logging into the AEP application, but they're actually trying to log into the member or vice versa, or using different credentials. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into the AEP application site, which I'm already in. I'm going to go quick through a couple of those questions. I see many people on here that have been on prior, so I do apologize for the duplication of these questions. But for those that are new, I wanted to cover some of the questions that I get routinely. As everybody probably understands, you fill out the application information. And one thing I want to make sure that some people tend to forget this part, they skip down to the officials. Here's what you want to see on your trophy. So for me, it's my district. So make sure that whatever you want printed on your trophy when you are successful, that appears here. And these people are your chief procurement officer and your organization official to whom you want to provide notification of the results. We send out electronic notification to the procurement official, and we send out a hard copy notification to the organization official with a copy to the procurement official. This is where you're going to enter all your responses. Please notice that the different colors are based on where you're at. I'm on criteria 1. I've completed 2, 3, and 4A. I've said I'm not going to answer 4B, 4C, so on and so forth. So the colors are going to tell you which ones you've touched, which ones you haven't, which ones you're still working on. And you can see 8A through 11B, I have not completed those yet. We also have people routinely ask if they, how they can substitute a revised version of one of their responses. And to do that, you can just delete your previous response by clicking on this button and then upload a brand new one. If there's something that you're not going to respond to, please do not submit anything. Occasionally we'll have people submit something that says, we don't qualify, we're not responding. That still is a response. We still have to open them up and read them. It takes a lot of time. So if you're not going to submit for something, just click on no, go to the next question. It'll highlight it in the red for you. During your application process, if you would like to look at prior applications, you can go to the History tab, and you can look at scorecards from all your previous applications. You can download the responses that you had already provided, and you can see any notes or comments from the evaluation team, which are very helpful if for some reason you were unsuccessful in a particular criterion and you want to know why. We will always leave notes explaining that for you.
Okay. Bye.
Once you're completed with all your responses and it's time to submit your application, the system is going to tell you which ones you did not answer, how many points you're eligible for. As a reminder, you only have to have 100 out of the 200 points to be a successful applicant. We always, of course, recommend that you submit for more because most applications get points taken off somewhere. So make sure you have extra cushion. And also try and beat your application year over year. Try and increase, use that as one of your performance measures. Can
you please repeat the minimum number of points again? I'm sorry.
The minimum number of points is 100 out of 200 to be a successful.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excuse me. So after you're done, you're sure you want to proceed, you click on the I understand and want to finalize my application. You go to this page It'll tell you when the applications are due, when our next, just some information, when our next award, the National Procurement Institute conference is. And here is where it's a little bit new. So what you need to do here is go to back to our main website to make your payment before you can submit your application. If you are an NPI member, once you log into the member side of the NPI website, it's going to give you a code to enter here to get your $200 discount. Again, as I've said many times before, if you're not an NPI member and you're submitting the AEP application, you're losing money, please join. If you're an NPI member, it costs $130 to join and you get a $200 discount on your AEP application, along with access to everything that NPI has to offer, including our model submittals, our job board, and of course, discounts on our annual conference. So back to the application, if you're ready to make payment, you click on that. It's going to open up a brand new window. And from this, you go through and if you're an NPI member, I'm already logged in, so we'll have my information. If you're not logged in, then go ahead and log in to get the code. This is where you make payment. I'm not going to hit submit because I'm not ready to make payment. I'm not done yet, but this tells me my AEP application fee is $400. And then once that's done, again, it'll give you a code if you're an NPI member, and then you go back to this page. Again, it's just a different window, so you don't have to go back in your browser, enter your code and click on submit application. That'll verify that you've already made the payment, and it'll submit your application and finalize that. Please keep in mind, once you submit your application and finalize it, there are no edits allowed. So make sure that you have everything that you need in your response before you pay for and submit your application. As a matter of fact, you can pay for your application at any time if you'd like to do that, and then just submit when you're ready. Because you can go to the AEP application payment button and it'll take you to the same place that I was just at. So you can make your payment at any time. And then the last thing is that, again, you can't do any modifications. Once you submit, the deadline this year is May 16. We usually do May 15, but May 15 is on a Sunday. So we decided to extend it by 1 day. So May 16, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. So right at midnight Central Standard Time is going to be the cutoff. For those of you who like to work late into the evening, you can do so. Once we hit that date, the system will close down, not allow any more applications. So please do not be late. Now, if you have any questions prior to that time, feel free to send me an email, and you can email me at aep@npiconnection.org. That address goes directly to me, and I will respond or get with one of the evaluation team members, and we will respond to you with any questions. I too am submitting my application, so if you have any questions, please please get those in early, because I want to make sure that I have time to respond to those for you. All right, and with that, I'm going to open up the floor to any questions about anything. I'm going to go back in and take a look at the chat here. And
Brian, would you like me to read the questions for you?
yeah, you bet. That'd be great, Phil. Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's see. The first question was regarding criteria 9, and that has to do, with I have it right here.
Requirements contracting.
Use of requirements contracts. Thanks. Do we remove construction spend from total spend, then calculate the percentage of requirements contract spend?
And the answer is it depends. And the reason it depends is because some agencies can use requirements contracts for construction. Generally, they're called job order contracting. And so if you are allowed to use requirements contracting for your construction projects, keep that spend in there.
That's the other one I was thinking. That's Bruce.
Excuse me, I'm going to put someone on mute. Keep the total construction spend in there and use this construction spend under the job order contracts to calculate. If you are not allowed to use job order contracting, or you just do not do job order contracting for construction, then you don't have the opportunity to count that for your requirement spend. So at that point, then deduct your construction spend from your calculation and move on from there. Hope that answers the question.
All right, great. The next question is, where would I find my score sheets from last year? I couldn't figure out how to get to the history.
Okay, hopefully I already answered that, but I'm going to go back in and do that one more time. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so once I log into the AEP application, again, I'm already logged in, so it just takes me past that first step. Mine looks slightly different than everybody else's because I'm a scorer and administrator, but you will just have this blue section. You go to the history, click on history, and then you can review and view all of your scorecards that you submitted up to this date. I also want to remind everybody that you do not have to be the person who submits the application to log in and see your scorecards. So if someone is working on a section for you and they want to see what they did last year, as long as they create a user ID with the same URL that you submitted your application under, then they'll be able to go in, view the application, and view the history. So for example, if I gave a section to one of my managers, they could create an email or a login with the @goldengate.org portion, the URL portion of your email, and they'd be able to access this as well. Hope that answers that question.
Great. The next one is, can you receive partial points for a section?
Unfortunately, no. We do not grade on percentage. So if you just miss one thing, unfortunately, you won't get the points. All criteria are designed to be either 5 points or 10 points. And you'll notice in the application that we bullet list everything that you have to submit. So don't submit 1 of 2 or 2 of 3 because you won't get the points. Please submit everything that's required so you can get the full points for that criteria.
All right, and another is, so I just want to make sure that I pass along the payment information correctly to our fiscal staff. Can we prepay the application fee prior to submitting our application and still upload our submittals after the payment has been made, correct? On the application, it states that once the payment has been made, the submittal cannot be edited after that point. Page 5 of the application.
And I can ask Craig to provide his response to this question, but the answer I believe is yes, and that you can make payment at any time by paying on the NPI website. It's not until you actually finally hit submit application when the process goes from you being able to edit to it being submitted. So I want to make sure that that I got that correct. And Craig?
And Craig has responded in the chat, correct. However, the payment is non-refundable.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
All right, that's all the questions in the chat.
Okay, it looks like another one came in. The link I received last time did not give me a certificate. I'm not really sure. Looks like maybe Craig has already answered that.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right, what other questions do we have? Comments? War stories? If you don't want to type it in, feel free. It looks like Laura's raised her hand. Laura?
What caused them to ask for only one submission for section 18 for the excellence? Because we usually institute multiple things throughout the year. And in the past, sometimes one might not get picked, but the other one will. So if we can only submit one, that kind of cuts our chance of being able to qualify for those points.
Okay, well, we've only had that criterion 18, I believe, for 3 years. It's fairly new. And the reason behind only one project is we honestly just don't have the time to review multiple projects. It takes, we have 200 applications, and it takes us quite a long time to, imagine the amount of time it takes you to put it together. It takes us just the same amount of time to review everything. So because of that, we ask that you only submit one project for 18. It's fantastic that you have multiple that you can submit. I would say, for 18, for a project to qualify, just remember a couple things. One, it has to be outside of the normal evaluation criteria. So what that means is that you would not want to provide something that's already covered in another criteria. For example, you instituted e-procurement system this year. Well, we already have 30 points on e-procurement 7A, B, and C. So we wouldn't then give points for, even though it's a great opportunity or a great improvement, we would not give points in 7A, B, and then in 18. It needs to be something outside. 2 is make sure that you have results that are measurable and that you can show the outcome of that project. How did it better your agency? How did it speed up processing time or make things more accurate or make it easier for people to do a certain task? So make sure that it's a project that was completed within the time frame that's on the application. It's something outside of the criteria, and you have measurable and reportable results. And if anybody needs to look at any of the ones that have been awarded in the past, again, if you're an MPI member, log into the MPI member website and hover over the members only tab, and that's how you find the model submittals. Thanks for the question.
All right, we have a couple more questions in the queue here. When do you find out if you get the AEP award?
Good question, Stephanie. So we start evaluating soon after the applications are submitted, and we do reviews, and then we, as a team, we meet to finalize everything mid-July. Our hopes are that we send notifications out to everybody. A first email should go out to the person who submitted the application, end of July, first part of August. And then we get all of those other notifications and letters out shortly afterwards. And we have some deadlines that we have to meet with our partner agencies. So again, the goal is to let everybody know by the end of July.
Great. Now, Gwenny has a question here. Criteria 17, procurement official authority. Please explain without limits.
You bet, Gwenny. That's a good question. There are a lot of agencies that don't meet this criteria, for example, mine. And it depends on how the award authority is defined in your organization. So whether it's a mayor and council, board of supervisors, so on and so forth. What this criteria gets at is that the CPO, your chief procurement official, should be able to make awards without awards having to be approved at a higher level. Okay, so for example, my agency, we have to take procurements over $250,000 to our board, and then our board approves those contracts. So I can't meet that authority. Prior agency I worked at, the chief procurement official was the final authority on awards. We did not take contracts to our mayor and council, so we were able to meet that criteria. So without limits is truly without limits, meaning that you don't have to go seek higher approval to make contract award. I hope that answers that one.
That's it in the chat.
All right. Any other questions or comments or anything that anybody would like me to walk through online? Please feel free to put those in chat or unmute yourself and ask.
Hi. A previous session, you showed what a winning proposals were, like some of the criteria? Where can we find that information again?
All right, thanks, Lisa, for the question. Those are our model submittals, and I'll go back in and show you how to locate those. So I'm going to share my screen once again. I am going to the NPI website. And the only way to find those is if you are an NPI member. Again, say this over and over. If you're not an NPI member and you're submitting the AEP application, you're losing money. So please join by going to apply for membership. But if you are a member, you'll log in by clicking on this button, enter your credentials. And then once you're logged in as an NPI member, you're going to hover over the members only tab and you'll see the selection for AEP model submittals. You click on that, and then we have organized the model submittals by criterion. So you can go through and take a look at which one you need help on. I will say, keep in mind that criteria 7 was changed this year. So the model submittals that you're going to see here under 7, A through H, aren't going to be the same as you're going to have to submit this year, because we changed criterion 7. We knocked it down to 3 sections, A, B, and C, each worth 10 points. So they can still possibly help you, but make sure that you understand that it's rearranged, it's arranged a little bit differently this year in hopes that it's going to make it easier for people to apply. So there are your model submittals. Another thing that I'll quickly show you as I'm logged in as a member, if you need to get an invoice from NPI for a payment that you made. So if you misplace or you don't get the email that has your AEP payment, you can go in and for some reason I'm not seeing, Craig, help me out here. I know when I first log in, it takes me to, maybe I need to go to my member page. There it is. Sorry. So once you log in and go to your member page, you hover, if you click on my profile, and then you hover over my profile again, which is up here this time, you're going to see the selection for invoices. And that way you don't have to search or email. You can go in and take a look. For example, this is showing my AEP application last year. If I wanted to get a copy of that invoice, my NPI membership renewal, I needed a copy of that invoice. So we get that question a lot. So again, log in as a member, go to the members page, click on my profile, and then hover over the next my profile.
Brian, we've got another question in the chat from Paige. So if an automated P-card program is a requirement for another criterion, then using a move from a slightly automated to a more automated program would not count for criterion 18?
That would be correct. So unless there's something novel that you did outside of the current requirements for a P-card program, if there's something that you're doing that isn't in, and again, it's a novel idea. I don't have any examples off the top of my head to give you. But if the P-card program is already covered in criterion 8, we're not going to, you would not receive points for another P-card program on criterion 18.
So Brian, maybe as a as a example, if they had some way of creating a new system for oversight of the P-card transactions, and they were able to automate some type of flagging system for questionable transactions or something like that, that may improve their auditing process. That may be something like an example that they could submit.
I think that's a great example, Philip. Thank you.
All right, got another question here. This is question for criterion 3. Please clarify what documentation shows that the agency has a formal professional development program and satisfies this number. For instance, my agency supports training and approved training for the RFP lab for staff, since my agency executes so many RFPs for new staff.
Carl, that's a great question. I would say that it can vary. So people approach training a little bit differently. And I would first off recommend that you take a look at the model submittals and get some ideas how other people do it. But showing that you have a professional development program or formal professional development program is just, through your narrative, through your supportive training, you could talk about how much budget you have, the types of trainings that you have staff go through, and again, take a look at the model submittals. There should be quite a few good examples in there. So I'm sorry I don't have anything more specific for you, but it can take many different forms.
Got an announcement from Christina Pryor. Hi, Christina. She's saying make sure to attend the MPI annual conference in Atlanta in October to be recognized for your award at the Achievement of Excellence in Procurement Awards ceremony.
Excellent. Thanks, Christina. We have a great program put together this year. Our program chair has done another fantastic job, and it would be nice to see everybody in person again. And yeah, if you can, make sure to attend and be recognized at our AEP Gala. All right. Leave it open just for a little bit longer to see if there's any other questions that come in. Again, you can ask questions about any of the criteria, the application process, payment process, anything that you need a little bit of extra help on. I will reference a question that I found or that I saw on the NIGP purchase issues listserv yesterday, I believe it was. Someone asked about, on the NIGP listserv, they asked about an example of the format of a letter from a chief procurement official that documents the requirements for the education criteria for staff. And someone answered that before I could, and they answered it correctly, and that this is new. So we probably don't have any examples, and they're exactly correct. It doesn't have to take any specific format. For example, it could easily just be a letter from your, excuse me, I think I said chief procurement official, the chief HR person, whether that's HR director or whatever the title is. On your organization letterhead that says to whom it may concern or AEP evaluation committee. This letter certifies the fact that these 10 individuals listed as our professional procurement staff members all have supplied proof of their degree. And the reason that we've done this is it takes a lot of time to find, collect, upload diplomas. And a lot of agencies will have that information when someone applies. And so we've tried to make it easier for everybody to apply and review and just get that certification from your HR official, because that documentation has probably already been provided. I've used this example in the past. Arizona State University has about 75 professional procurement staff members. So getting all their diplomas together, sometimes people can't find them. Sometimes they got to go back and get additional proof. Uploading all of those, putting it into a giant file takes a ton of time. where it may be just easier for their senior human resources official to write that letter to us. So hopefully this is a time saver for many of you. And we know on our end, it's a time saver for large organizations because we have to match up names and then the proof of the diplomas. So it takes a while.
Couple more announcements on here. Christina's asking if maybe Brian, you can show where everyone would find more information about the upcoming conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And while you're pulling that up, Craig is announcing that the registration is going to open in 2 weeks. And Christina is asked, or just letting everyone know to watch out for opportunities to apply for scholarships.
Excellent. Thank you for both of those. And I'm just showing the NPI member homepage. We do have a tab at the top that says conference. Under that, you can find the tentative agenda. So right now, we're still working on finalizing that, but the tentative agenda is posted along with the presenters. Conference registration. Another great reason here to join NPI. Get a fantastic discount on our conference registration. Information to the conference hotel, which is the Westin Peachtree, fantastic place. And then, of course, a link to our partners. And we're getting that information uploaded. And some of our partners are already listed down here, so get that uploaded as well. All right, thanks for pointing that out, Christina. And also, as she mentioned, we're finalizing some information on some scholarship money that's going to be available to help people attend the NPI annual conference in Atlanta. Any final questions or comments for myself or any member of the team? Oh, thanks, Michelle. All right, well, with that, I would again want to thank Sourcewell, our government education partner, for this. We intend to do this again next year, so hopefully it's helpful. I'd like to thank Philip, Christina, Brandon, April, Craig, everybody that from the AEP evaluation team that is online today and definitely has helped in this process. Again, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to email me at aep@npiconnection.org. Don't be surprised if you get an email back from Golden Gate because this goes straight to my work email. Thank you to Michael for the presentation today. And with that, I hope that everybody has a fantastic rest of your day and good luck on the application.